Have you ever encountered the unsettling realization that the trust and sincerity you've extended to another individual have been met with something less than genuine, perhaps doubt, perhaps hurt, perhaps a subtle undercurrent of self-serving motivation? In the complex tapestry of human relationships, this experience is, unfortunately, far from uncommon. We invest our emotions, our time, and our energy into building connections, hoping to find reciprocal care and understanding. Yet, the vulnerability inherent in opening ourselves up to others also exposes us to the potential for deception, manipulation, and the painful awareness that not everyone operates with the same level of integrity. The question then arises, how do we navigate these treacherous waters, discerning genuine connection from calculated performance, and protecting our hearts and minds from the corrosive effects of insincerity? To traverse the convoluted maze of human interactions, we must first become adept at spotting the red flags, the subtle indicators that betray a lack of authenticity. We must hone our intuition, learn to observe behavior with a critical eye, and cultivate a profound understanding of human nature. This isn't about becoming cynical or distrustful of everyone we meet, but rather about developing a discerning filter, allowing us to allocate our trust wisely and safeguard our emotional well-being. The ability to recognize insincerity is not merely a defensive mechanism, it is a crucial life skill that empowers us to build stronger, more fulfilling relationships based on mutual respect and genuine affection. It is a path towards cultivating inner peace by freeing ourselves from the draining and often damaging effects of navigating relationships built on false pretenses. So how do we cultivate this discernment? How do we learn to see beyond the carefully constructed facades that some people erect? And, perhaps most importantly, how do we maintain our own integrity and emotional equilibrium when confronted with the disappointment of discovering insincerity in others? The pursuit of these answers leads us on a journey through the subtle nuances of human behavior, exploring the telltale signs that reveal a lack of genuine connection. It also invites us to delve into the wisdom of Stoic philosophy, a timeless guide for navigating the challenges of life with equanimity and resilience. The Stoics, with their emphasis on virtue, reason, and self-control, offer a powerful framework for understanding and responding to the insincerity we encounter in others. Their teachings remind us that while we cannot control the actions of others, we can control our own reactions, choosing to respond with wisdom, compassion, and a steadfast commitment to our own values. The first, and perhaps most disheartening, sign that someone may not be genuine with you is their conspicuous absence when you are in need. This is not simply about occasional lapses in availability or the inevitable conflicts that arise in busy lives. It's about a consistent pattern of behavior where your needs are consistently deprioritized, your calls for support go unanswered, and your moments of vulnerability are met with indifference or, at best, perfunctory gestures. Consider the scenario: you've consistently been there for this person, offering a listening ear, providing practical assistance, or simply lending a shoulder to cry on. You've invested time and energy in nurturing the relationship, believing that it is built on a foundation of mutual care and support. Yet, when the tables are turned, and you find yourself in a challenging situation, that same level of support is nowhere to be found. Excuses abound: they're too busy, they have personal matters to attend to, or they'll call you back later, a promise that often remains unfulfilled. The realization that your needs are not considered important enough to warrant their attention can be deeply painful, leading to feelings of betrayal, disappointment, and a questioning of the entire basis of the relationship. I recall a particularly vivid instance from my own life, involving a friendship I had cherished for many years. Sarah and I had been close since childhood, sharing countless experiences and offering each other unwavering support through thick and thin. Or so I believed. When I was faced with a sudden and unexpected job loss, I reached out to Sarah, hoping for a listening ear and perhaps some practical advice. To my dismay, she was consistently unavailable, citing a demanding new job and a string of personal commitments. While I understood that life could be hectic, the complete absence of support during a period of intense emotional distress was a stark contrast to the unwavering support I had always offered her. It was a painful awakening, forcing me to confront the uncomfortable truth that the reciprocity I had assumed was a cornerstone of our friendship was, in reality, a one-way street. This experience, and others like it, taught me a valuable lesson about the importance of discerning genuine connection from conditional support. It highlighted the need to observe patterns of behavior over time, rather than relying solely on words or superficial gestures. True friendship, I came to realize, is not defined by fleeting moments of convenience, but by a consistent willingness to be present and supportive, even when it requires sacrifice or effort. Stoicism offers a powerful perspective on this phenomenon, reminding us that our emotional well-being should not be contingent upon the actions of others. Epictetus, the renowned Stoic philosopher, famously said, "Do not seek to have events happen as you wish, but wish events to happen as they actually do, and your life will go well." This wisdom can be applied to our expectations of others, urging us to accept that not everyone will meet our needs or behave in the way we desire. Instead of feeling resentful or betrayed when someone is absent in our time of need, we can choose to accept their limitations and focus on cultivating our own inner strength. By developing a sense of self-reliance and independence, we become less vulnerable to the disappointment of unmet expectations and more resilient in the face of adversity. This is not to say that we should abandon our desire for connection and support, but rather that we should cultivate a healthy balance between seeking connection and relying on our own inner resources. We should also be mindful of the energy we invest in relationships, directing our efforts towards those who demonstrate a genuine commitment to mutual care and support. In the end, the ability to discern genuine connection from conditional support is a crucial step towards building healthier, more fulfilling relationships and safeguarding our emotional well-being. Building upon the first sign, the second indication of potential insincerity lies in the consistent lack of initiation on their part. This doesn't refer to occasional instances where schedules clash or one person happens to be busier than the other. Rather, it points to a sustained pattern where you are always the one reaching out, suggesting activities, initiating conversations, and making the effort to maintain the connection. If you were to suddenly stop initiating contact, would they notice? Would they reach out to you, wondering why they haven't heard from you lately? Or would your absence go unnoticed, confirming your suspicion that the relationship is largely dependent on your efforts? This lack of initiation can manifest in various ways. Perhaps they never call or text you first, only responding when you reach out to them. Or maybe they never suggest activities or outings, always waiting for you to propose something. It could also involve a general lack of engagement in the relationship, where they passively receive your efforts but rarely contribute their own ideas or initiatives. This pattern can leave you feeling drained and undervalued, as if you are carrying the entire weight of the relationship on your shoulders. It can also raise questions about their genuine interest in you as a person. Are they truly invested in the relationship, or are they simply enjoying the benefits of your attention and effort without reciprocating? I recall a friendship I had in college with a classmate named Mark. He was a friendly and engaging person, and we quickly bonded over our shared interests. We spent hours studying together, attending social events, and generally enjoying each other's company. However, as time went on, I began to notice a pattern. I was always the one initiating contact. I would call him to suggest study sessions, invite him to parties, and generally make the effort to maintain our connection. Mark would always respond positively, seeming genuinely happy to spend time with me. But he never reached out to me first. Curious, I decided to conduct a little experiment. I stopped initiating contact with Mark, wanting to see if he would reach out to me. To my surprise, weeks went by without a single call, text, or email. It was as if I had completely disappeared from his radar. This experience was a stark reminder that not all relationships are created equal. While Mark clearly enjoyed spending time with me, he wasn't invested enough in the relationship to make the effort to initiate contact. It was a valuable lesson in discerning genuine connection from passive acceptance. Stoicism offers a powerful framework for understanding and responding to this type of situation. The Stoics emphasize the importance of focusing on what we can control, which includes our own actions and attitudes, but not the actions of others. We cannot force someone to initiate contact with us, nor can we control their level of investment in the relationship. However, we can control our own expectations and our response to their behavior. Instead of feeling resentful or hurt by their lack of initiation, we can choose to accept their limitations and adjust our expectations accordingly. We can also redirect our energy towards relationships that are more reciprocal and fulfilling. This doesn't necessarily mean cutting ties with the person altogether, but rather adjusting our level of involvement and investment in the relationship. We can choose to prioritize relationships where both parties are actively engaged and willing to make the effort to maintain the connection. In the end, the ability to recognize and respond to a lack of initiation is a crucial step towards building healthier, more balanced relationships and protecting our emotional well-being. Further solidifying the assessment of insincerity, a third telling sign is their pervasive self-centeredness, a tendency to dominate conversations and interactions with their own interests, experiences, and concerns, leaving little or no room for you to share your own thoughts and feelings. This is not merely a matter of occasional forgetfulness or a temporary lapse in attentiveness. It's a consistent pattern of behavior where they consistently steer the conversation back to themselves, interrupting you when you try to speak, and showing little genuine interest in your life. Imagine a scenario where you are trying to share an exciting accomplishment or a personal challenge with this person. Instead of offering congratulations or empathy, they quickly redirect the conversation back to their own achievements or struggles, effectively shutting down your attempt to connect. Or perhaps they listen passively while you speak, but offer only superficial responses, showing little genuine interest in what you have to say. This self-centeredness can manifest in various ways. They might constantly talk about their own problems, seeking sympathy and validation, without ever asking about your well-being. Or they might boast about their accomplishments, seeking admiration and praise, without acknowledging your own achievements. They might also interrupt you frequently, changing the subject to something that is more relevant to their own interests. This pattern of behavior can leave you feeling invisible and undervalued, as if your thoughts and feelings are not worthy of their attention. It can also raise questions about their genuine interest in you as a person. Are they truly interested in building a meaningful connection, or are they simply using you as an audience for their own self-aggrandizement? I recall a friendship I had with a colleague named David. He was a charismatic and outgoing person, and we quickly became friends at work. We spent hours chatting during breaks, sharing stories and jokes. However, as time went on, I began to notice a pattern. David was always the one doing the talking. He would regale me with stories about his weekend adventures, his professional accomplishments, and his personal relationships. While I enjoyed listening to his stories at first, I soon realized that he rarely asked about my life. When I tried to share my own experiences, he would often interrupt me, changing the subject back to himself. This pattern left me feeling increasingly frustrated and undervalued. I felt like I was simply an audience for David's self-centered monologues, rather than an equal participant in a reciprocal friendship. Stoicism offers a valuable perspective on dealing with self-centered individuals. The Stoics emphasize the importance of focusing on our own character and virtue, rather than seeking external validation or approval. We cannot control the behavior of others, but we can control our own response to their behavior. Instead of feeling resentful or hurt by their self-centeredness, we can choose to accept their limitations and focus on cultivating our own inner strength. We can also set boundaries and limit our exposure to their negativity. This doesn't necessarily mean cutting ties with the person altogether, but rather adjusting our level of involvement and investment in the relationship. We can choose to prioritize relationships where both parties are actively engaged, and where mutual respect and reciprocity are valued. In the end, the ability to recognize and respond to self-centeredness is a crucial step towards building healthier, more balanced relationships and protecting our emotional well-being. Extending the line of thought further, a fourth unmistakable sign of a lack of sincerity is their tendency to forget details you've shared with them, especially those of personal significance. This goes beyond the occasional memory lapse that we all experience from time to time. It's about a consistent pattern of forgetting important details about your life, your experiences, and your relationships. Imagine sharing a deeply personal story with this person, something that is important to you and that you believe will strengthen your connection. Then, weeks or months later, you bring up the story again, only to find that they have no recollection of it whatsoever. Or perhaps you tell them about an upcoming event that is significant to you, such as a birthday, a graduation, or a job interview. They express interest at the time, but then completely forget about it when the day arrives. This pattern of forgetfulness can be deeply hurtful, as it suggests that they weren't truly listening when you shared these details in the first place. It can also raise questions about their level of care and investment in the relationship. Do they genuinely value you as a person, or are they simply going through the motions, pretending to be interested without truly engaging? I remember a time when I shared with a close friend about a dream I had been working towards for a long time. It was something I was deeply passionate about, and I poured my heart and soul into it. I was excited to share my progress with her and to receive her support and encouragement. However, weeks later, when I brought up the topic again, she seemed to have no memory of our previous conversation. She asked me questions that I had already answered, and she expressed surprise at details that I had already shared. This experience left me feeling deflated and disappointed. It made me question whether she had truly been listening when I had shared my dream with her, or whether she had simply been pretending to be interested. Stoicism offers a valuable perspective on dealing with this type of situation. The Stoics emphasize the importance of focusing on our own actions and attitudes, rather than seeking external validation or approval. We cannot control the memory of others, nor can we force them to remember the details we share with them. However, we can control our own response to their forgetfulness. Instead of feeling resentful or hurt by their lack of memory, we can choose to accept their limitations and focus on cultivating our own inner strength. We can also adjust our expectations and avoid sharing deeply personal details with those who have demonstrated a pattern of forgetfulness. This doesn't necessarily mean cutting ties with the person altogether, but rather adjusting our level of vulnerability and investment in the relationship. We can choose to prioritize relationships where both parties are actively engaged, and where mutual respect and attentiveness are valued. In the end, the ability to recognize and respond to forgetfulness is a crucial step towards building healthier, more balanced relationships and protecting our emotional well-being. The fifth indication of potential insincerity is the persistent pattern of them always wanting something from you, a subtle but pervasive sense that their interest in you is contingent upon what you can offer them, whether it be material possessions, social connections, favors, or simply a listening ear for their endless stream of complaints. This is not about occasional requests for help or the natural give and take that occurs in healthy relationships. It's about a consistent pattern of behavior where they are always asking for something, and rarely offering anything in return. Imagine a scenario where you receive a phone call from this person. Before you even have a chance to exchange pleasantries, they launch into a request for a favor, a loan, or some other form of assistance. Or perhaps they constantly seek your advice, your expertise, or your connections, without ever reciprocating with their own knowledge or resources. This pattern can leave you feeling used and exploited, as if you are simply a means to an end for them. It can also raise questions about their genuine interest in you as a person. Do they truly value you for who you are, or are they simply interested in what you can provide? I remember a time when I had a friend who constantly asked me for favors. He would ask me to drive him to appointments, to help him with his homework, and to lend him money. While I was happy to help him out occasionally, I soon realized that he was always asking for something, and he rarely offered anything in return. He never seemed to be interested in my life, my problems, or my interests. It was as if I was simply a tool for him to use, rather than a friend to connect with. This experience taught me a valuable lesson about the importance of setting boundaries and protecting myself from exploitation. Stoicism offers a powerful framework for understanding and responding to this type of situation. The Stoics emphasize the importance of focusing on our own character and virtue, rather than seeking external validation or approval. We cannot control the behavior of others, but we can control our own response to their behavior. Instead of feeling resentful or used by their constant requests, we can choose to set boundaries and assert our own needs. We can learn to say no without feeling guilty, and we can prioritize our own well-being over the demands of others. This doesn't necessarily mean cutting ties with the person altogether, but rather adjusting our level of involvement and investment in the relationship. We can choose to interact with them on our own terms, and we can avoid situations where we feel exploited or taken advantage of. In the end, the ability to recognize and respond to constant demands is a crucial step towards building healthier, more balanced relationships and protecting our emotional well-being. Moving on, the sixth significant indicator of insincerity is the disheartening discovery that they talk behind your back, engaging in gossip or spreading negative rumors about you to others. This is a particularly painful betrayal, as it involves a violation of trust and a deliberate attempt to damage your reputation or undermine your relationships. Imagine finding out that someone you considered a friend or confidant has been sharing your personal secrets with others, or that they have been spreading false or exaggerated stories about you to your mutual acquaintances. This can leave you feeling exposed, vulnerable, and deeply hurt. It can also damage your relationships with others, as their negative comments can influence their perception of you. The realization that someone you trusted has been betraying you in this way can be incredibly difficult to process, and it can shake your faith in human nature. I remember a time when I found out that a close friend had been talking about me behind my back. She had been sharing my personal struggles with others, exaggerating my flaws, and making me look bad in front of my mutual friends. I was devastated when I found out about this, and I felt betrayed and humiliated. It took me a long time to forgive her, and our relationship never fully recovered. This experience taught me a valuable lesson about the importance of choosing my friends wisely and being careful about who I trust. Stoicism offers a powerful framework for understanding and responding to this type of situation. The Stoics emphasize the importance of focusing on our own character and virtue, rather than seeking external validation or approval. We cannot control the behavior of others, but we can control our own response to their behavior. Instead of feeling consumed by anger, resentment, or a desire for revenge, we can choose to respond with equanimity and compassion. We can remind ourselves that their negative behavior reflects their own insecurities and flaws, rather than our own. We can also choose to forgive them, not necessarily for their sake, but for our own. Holding on to anger and resentment only hurts ourselves, while forgiveness allows us to move on and heal. This doesn't necessarily mean condoning their behavior or re-establishing a close relationship with them. It simply means releasing the negative emotions that are holding us back. We can also choose to protect ourselves from further harm by limiting our contact with them and being more cautious about what we share with them in the future. In the end, the ability to recognize and respond to betrayal is a crucial step towards building resilience, maintaining inner peace, and protecting our emotional well-being. Finally, the seventh and often most subtle sign is that they act differently with different people, a chameleon-like ability to adjust their personality, opinions, and behavior to suit the particular company they are keeping. This is not about simply being polite or adapting to different social situations. It's about a fundamental lack of authenticity and a willingness to compromise their own values in order to gain favor or avoid conflict. Imagine observing this person interacting with different groups of people. With one group, they might be outgoing, opinionated, and assertive. With another group, they might be quiet, agreeable, and submissive. They might express different opinions on the same topic, depending on who they are talking to. They might even adopt different mannerisms, accents, or styles of dress in order to fit in. This inconsistency can be unsettling, as it suggests that they are not being true to themselves or to others. It can also raise questions about their trustworthiness. If they are willing to change their behavior so easily, can you really trust them to be honest and reliable? I remember a time when I had a colleague who was a master of this type of behavior. He would act one way with our superiors, another way with his peers, and yet another way with his subordinates. He would tell people what they wanted to hear, and he would always agree with the person in authority. It was clear that he was more concerned with pleasing others than with being true to himself. This behavior made it difficult to trust him, as I never knew what his true motives were. Stoicism offers a valuable perspective on understanding and responding to this type of behavior. The Stoics emphasized the importance of living in accordance with virtue and reason. This means being true to ourselves, acting with integrity, and upholding our values, regardless of the circumstances. We cannot control the behavior of others, but we can control our own response to their behavior. Instead of being drawn into their manipulative games, we can choose to remain true to our own values and act with integrity. We can also choose to limit our contact with them and avoid situations where we feel pressured to compromise our own principles. This doesn't necessarily mean judging them or condemning their behavior. It simply means recognizing that their actions are not aligned with our own values, and choosing to protect ourselves from their negative influence. In the end, the ability to recognize and respond to inconsistent behavior is a crucial step towards building stronger, more authentic relationships and maintaining our own integrity. In conclusion, navigating the complexities of human relationships requires a keen awareness of the potential for insincerity and a commitment to cultivating discernment. The 7 signs we've explored, their absence in times of need, their lack of initiation, their self-centeredness, their forgetfulness, their constant demands, their betrayal through gossip, and their inconsistent behavior, offer valuable clues for identifying those who may not be genuine with you. However, recognizing these signs is only the first step. The true challenge lies in responding to these discoveries with wisdom, compassion, and a steadfast commitment to your own well-being. Stoicism provides a powerful framework for navigating these challenges, reminding us that we cannot control the actions of others, but we can control our own reactions. By focusing on our own character, upholding our values, and setting healthy boundaries, we can protect ourselves from the negative effects of insincerity and build stronger, more fulfilling relationships based on mutual respect and genuine connection. Ultimately, the ability to discern genuine connection from calculated performance is a crucial life skill that empowers us to live with greater authenticity, resilience, and inner peace. Remember that the goal is not to become cynical or distrustful of everyone we meet, but rather to develop a discerning filter that allows us to allocate our trust wisely and safeguard our emotional well-being. By embracing the wisdom of Stoicism and cultivating a deeper understanding of human nature, we can navigate the complexities of human relationships with greater confidence and grace, building a life filled with meaningful connections and unwavering inner strength. So, take the time to reflect on your own relationships, to observe the patterns of behavior, and to listen to your intuition. And remember, you have the power to choose the company you keep and to create a life filled with genuine connections and lasting fulfillment.